They say this before, but a whole group of us all went to go see the last Superman.
Okay.
And after it was over, my wife liked it. I liked it.
Controversial.
I thought it was pretty good. And they're like, "Oh, I hate Superman." And I was like, "Why?" He goes, "Well, he can't be beat." I'm like, okay, I never thought about that being an issue.
It's easy to hate Superman.
But
where do you want to eat? I don't know. Where do you want to eat? How annoying is it to begin a night out not knowing where to go? Save time by checking out Omaha.com's food and dining page. World-Herald food critic Sarah Baker Hansen is your local taste tester, reviewing restaurants, telling food stories, and starting debate with her quarterly Food Prowls. Sarah and her foodie crew hit the best joints for burgers, pizza, pork tenderloin, and much more. Check out her blog on omavore.omaha.com.
If you've been car shopping lately, you might have noticed a striking new design on the lot. I'm talking about EPA's new completely redesigned fuel economy and environment label. For most people, the beauty of a car extends to its mileage, their pocketbook, and the impact on the air we all breathe. With the new label, you'll find all this information in a more usable format. Things like dollar savings over 5 years, emissions ratings, and fuel economy comparisons with other vehicles. It's a new generation of labels for a new generation of cars. Learn more at fueleconomy.gov.
Hey, Nick Cannon here. So we all know we've got a lot of talent in America, but unfortunately there's something else we've got way too much of. Childhood hunger. 17 million kids struggle with it in this country. That's why the Feeding America nationwide network of food banks gather surplus food to give hope to hungry kids and their families. Join me in supporting Feeding America and your local food bank at feedingamerica.org.
A message from Feeding America and the Ad Council.
When I grow up, I want to be a new pair of blue jeans.
When I grow up, I want to be a kid's first computer.
When I grow up, I want to be a glass countertop in a new home.
When I grow up, I want to be a kid's best birthday present.
When I grow up, I want to be a football stadium.
When I grow up, I want to be a warm fleece on a cold day.
When I grow up, I want to be a fancy
When I grow up,
backsplash.
I want to be a bike that races around the country.
When I grow up,
I want to be a bench on a forest trail. I want to be a rocking chair on a sunny porch.
I want to be a skyscraper.
I want to be a...
I want to be a...
When I grow up, I don't want to be a piece of garbage. And if you recycle me, I won't be.
Give your garbage another life. Recycle. Learn how at iwanttoberecycled.org. A public service advertisement brought to you by Keep America Beautiful and the Ad Council.
I heard on the news about that 5-year-old who found his uncle's gun. The kid didn't know it was loaded.
I heard on the news about that 14-year-old girl who was bullied online. For like a year, she couldn't take it anymore, so she got her dad's gun from his nightstand.
I heard on the news about that guy who broke into someone's house, stole a gun from the hall closet.
He accidentally shot his cousin in the head.
She killed herself.
And later, killed the owner of the store he was trying to rob.
If you own a gun, you have a full-time responsibility. When you aren't using it, be sure it can't get into the hands of curious children, troubled teenagers, a thief, or anyone else who might misuse it. Your family, friends, and neighbors are all counting on you. Remember, always, lock it up. For more information on firearm storage safety, visit ncpc.org. This message brought to you by the National Crime Prevention Council, the Bureau of Justice Assistance, and the Ad Council.
Today, my new dad threw a barbecue.
I burnt everything.
Ah! And then we played catch.
I broke Mr. Lewis's window. And then, somehow, my hand. My hand!
And then my dad even let me drive his car.
The hospital's on the right! It was a rough day.
It was a great day.
You don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. Thousands of kids in foster care will take you just as you are. For more information on how you can adopt, visit adoptuskids.org. A public service announcement from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt U.S. Kids, and the Ad Council.
Attention hunters, Nebraska Safari Club is hosting their annual Big Game Hunters Convention and Expo March 6th and 7th at the Ramada Plaza Hotel in Omaha. Enjoy the exotic games buffet, raffles, silent and live auctions featuring fishing and hunting trips, outdoor equipment, and much more. Book your reservation for the annual Nebraska Safari Club Convention and Expo today by calling 402-393-3950 or register online at nebraskasafari.club.org. Don't miss the Big Game Hunters Convention and Expo March 6th through the 7th at the Ramada Plaza Hotel in Omaha.
Well, I finally did it. My student loan is totally paid off.
What?
What about our plan to win the lottery and start living? You know, travel the world on matching yachts, wear enough jewelry to require a bodyguard, vacation on the French Riviera, and then buy it.
You know we're never going to win the lottery, right?
When it comes to financial stability, don't get left behind. Get tools and tips for saving at feedthepig.org. This message brought to you by the American Institute of CPAs and the Ad Council.
Thanks for asking, but I'd rather not send you nude pictures. I'm camera shy. I already said no. Under my clothes, I'm a robot. My webcam is broken. I'm worried they'll get passed around school. I have a rash. I have nudophobia. I have lizard skin. I'm a vampire, so I don't show up in pictures anyways. Your badgering has really killed the mood.
When someone is pressuring you to do something you don't want to, how many ways can you say no before they get the message? Let us know at that'snotcool.com. Brought to you by the Ad Council.
If your home or apartment was built before 1978, renovations can spread lead paint dust that can cause children 6 and under to grow up with behavior issues and even severe learning disabilities. That's why, if you're having work done, the EPA now requires that your contractor be lead safe certified. Don't let lead paint take away your child's future before it even begins. For a lead safe certified contractor in your area, visit www.epa.gov/get lead safe or call 1-800-424-LEAD.
Conversations with Suzanna, broadcasting live on the World-Herald Live app or on omaha.com. Catch her every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, empowering you to look for and accept the good in everything. This is Conversations with Suzanna.
All right. You are exactly where you need to be. This is Conversations with Suzanna. Yes, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. We're going to come into your life, helping to empower you to make your life better with each thought, each day. And the whole premise of this show is it's under your control. And with knowledge, you can create anything you want. So I'm lining up some great authors. If there are authors that you would suggest, please come to me on Facebook or Twitter and suggest them. I would love to have anybody you think empowered you. It's all about helping each other, make each other's day better. I'm going to start the show today with a gentleman that I've talked to several times, and he has written a book called The Bliss List. Welcome to the show, JP.
Thank you, Susanna. Living the dream.
You are living the dream, yes. JP, out of curiosity, it's JP Hansen.
Yes.
Of
Omaha.
What do you do?
Oh, I've got 4 dream jobs.
Okay.
Which is curious because I wrote a book about dream jobs. One of which is being an author. And I've written now 3 books, a 4th on the way. Okay. I own an executive search firm that I've been doing for the last 20 years. Mm-hmm. And in addition to that, I do public speaking, and I'm doing quite a bit of life coaching.
Marvelous. Life coaching is cool.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of people have no clue what bliss is. I mean, I think I asked someone the other day, are you finding your bliss? And they don't know. The first time I heard bliss was Joseph Campbell. Do you know who that man is?
Quotes in the book. I love Joseph Campbell.
Tell us about Joseph Campbell a little bit.
Yeah, the quote that Joseph Campbell famously said is, follow your bliss and doors will open where there were no doors before.
Say it one more time, a little slower.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm in my zone.
Yes, you're in your zone.
Joseph Campbell said, follow your bliss.
Follow your bliss.
And doors will open where there were no doors before.
And doors will
and
open
that inspired
where there is no
the original
doors
cover.
before.
Yeah, that
Marvelous.
was the original cover.
The original cover, if you can see it, is got a brick pathway and an open door. Right there, we have the book that you have, The Bliss List. So, tell me the little history of JP. How did JP, he was born in a town in
Bethlehem. No, I'm kidding.
No.
That's another JP. That's JC. I was born in Madison, Wisconsin, so I'm a cheesehead.
You're a cheesehead.
From Madison, I ended up defecting from the university people and went out to Boston College.
In Boston?
Yes, Massachusetts.
Mm-hmm. How long were you there?
Actually, it's not Boston and it's not a college. It's in Chestnut Hill and it's a university.
Okay.
So I have a naming problem. And from there, I cut my teeth in sales and marketing with a couple of blue chip companies, Carnation, which became Nestle.
Carnation.
With good old milk company. And,
yes, Nestle now.
Actually, it was pet foods.
And you didn't bring me any chocolate.
Well, I don't work there anymore.
Okay, fine. You should. Your calling card could be chocolate.
It could be chocolate.
Okay,
and then
go
from
ahead.
there, I went to a division of Bristol Myers Squibb, and then went over to Johnson Wax briefly, who acquired one of the divisions. Then I went into ConAgra right down the road. My office used to be kitty corner to where we are right now. A lot of neat memories of the Jean Leahy Mall, which, if it wasn't so snowy, would be a nice place to walk around today. But
it's a beautiful place.
Beautiful area.
Beautiful place. So is that what brought you to Omaha?
Yes. And then once the company, the division of ConAgra was sold, that opened up the doorway for me to pursue my dream, which was being my own boss and running an executive search and consulting company.
Mm-hmm.
And Hansen Executive Search has been in business now for 21 years. And from there, I've always wanted to write a book, and my first shot at that was when the job market died. It was worst job market in 50 years. Rather than wallow and, have my own pity parties are only a party for one.
Only a party for one, and the cake's usually spoiled.
Cake's awful.
My God.
Cake's terrible. You can't send it back because there's nobody to send it back to.
Yes.
So rather than do that, I did what I've always wanted to do, and that's write a book.
Okay.
So the Bliss List was a culmination of all of the things I had learned in executive search that I thought I had a tremendous platform to give people some insight on resumes and how to interview, 45 sample interview questions and recommended answers that nail job offers. But that was kind of the boring part. Where it became interesting is where I added in the mystical. And I love Joseph Campbell. I love Mark Twain's quote opens the book, and it's
what is the quote?
It's the secret of success is to make your vocation your vacation.
Oh,
and my research found that 4 out of 5 people were unhappy in their jobs, and that's still the same today. So there's not a lot of vacationers out there. So you mentioned the word bliss.
Mm-hmm.
Most people don't think you can get bliss until you die, which is a horrible way to live.
Horrible way to live. Horrible way to live.
People have a fear of dying, but they have a fear of living. And when I see 4 out of 5 are unhappy, it's insanity to me. So I knew that there was a market for the book. It's kind of 2 books in one. The Bliss List starts with the mystical, as the title implies.
Mm-hmm.
And it's basically just asking a reader to look at what makes time stand still. What is your bliss? And bliss, I had to actually define it as meaningful happiness. And really that's what bliss really is to most people.
Mm-hmm.
Some people think bliss means you're in a mountain up in the Himalayas with a robe and a bald head.
I love that meaningful happiness.
Yeah, and you don't need to be in a robe in the Himalayas starving to find meaningful happiness. But
do you believe everybody can be happy in their job?
Everybody,
We need the street sweepers. We need the beautiful people in the offices. We need the receptionist. We need all of these people. Can we find bliss where we are?
But the most interesting people to me are the people that are doing what we would consider menial jobs. And I'll give you an example that happened a half hour ago. Coming in here, there was a guy shoveling in the snow.
Mm-hmm.
And he was whistling and humming, and I went by and I said, thank you for doing this. And he just smiled, looked at me. Like, that's a guy that's in a menial job. It's freezing out there. It's 5 below the wind chill. Yet here he is, whistling and humming and having fun doing what he's doing. I don't know if he would have described it as bliss, but he certainly didn't look unhappy. So sure, you can find it.
We can make our bliss wherever we are in any kind of day.
The funny thing is, the bliss is our birthright. We are born.
Ooh, I like that. Bliss. One more time, a little slower.
Bliss is our birthright.
I love that.
Yeah,
let me say it one more time.
I love it.
Bliss is our birthright. Tell me why.
And we are 3-part beings. We're spirit, mind, and body. Yet we're fixated on the latter, the body. And we're not bodies. Bodies are transient. It's the person looking at the body, detached. If you look in the mirror today, the person you see isn't the real you. It's the transient body that has been manifest from the spirit. And the at your core, all the religious traditions and all of the meaningful authors and thinkers and philosophers through time have always known that at your core you are in a state of bliss. So what happens? How do 4 to 5 people move away from bliss? And I use the example of a life raft. We're really like the metaphor of the life raft, if you think about it. I'm talking about a life raft that comes off the boat and it self-inflates.
Mm-hmm.
And it is atop the ocean. It doesn't matter if it's wavy or if it's scorching sun or if there's rain. The life raft just bobs around. It doesn't want or need anything. It's not unhappy. It's not complaining. It's not unhappy. It's I don't know if I'd say bliss, but it's certainly, it is in a state of being. We pull that life raft down with resistance, and we do it all the time with our negative thoughts. So when you pull a life raft down underwater, you feel the tension. You feel the tension in your upper body. You feel the tension emotionally after a while. I can't do this anymore. I can't do this anymore. All you got to do is let go of the life raft, and it floats to the top. That's the metaphor for finding bliss in your jobs. People don't realize that it's inside you, so just let go and let God, as the saying goes.
One of the, do you watch shows, go to shows a lot?
I do, yeah.
Did you see the show Life of Pi?
I did. I love that.
Now, so when he was stranded,
yeah,
and in the boat, he could have sat there and did a pity party.
Yeah. Oh, sure.
Because he was in a boat with a tiger.
Sure.
But instead, he learned what he had to do to survive.
Yeah.
Which I think is a wonderful metaphor. We all are in our own lifeboats, and we just have to learn how to help each other be better. And I think the Bliss List is one of those books that we can read to look at. The question I have is, are you in bliss? What would be a blissful day for you? Can we have blissful days, or do we have blissful moments?
In the Bliss List, I identify 27 different, what I call reference points, which is basically emotions. And we all have the ability to reach all of the emotions. At the top of the chart is enlightenment / bliss. At the bottom is fear, shame, blame, hopelessness. The cutoff point is at number 12. At 12, it's basically just willingness, a can do instead of I can't. And I call them the 4-letter words: can't, don't, won't, and fear. So
say those 4-letter words.
4-letter words. I know I had your sensor ready to hit the button, and all the lights are going off. These are ones that I can say, but I shouldn't. And that's can't, don't, won't, and then the F-bomb, fear. And whenever someone starts a sentence with can't, don't, or won't, or I fear, that is actually going to sink your lifeboat, and you're going to get attacked by the tiger and pie. When we start something with I can, that's the cutoff point. So to answer your question, am I always in a state of bliss? No. But have I experienced bliss and enlightened moments? Sure, we all have. Have I experienced moments of hopelessness, despair, depression? Sure, we all have. That's the beauty of what this physical crazy thing we call Earth is all about, to me, is the ability, the freedom to choose all those, and they're choices. So
one of the things that I do, and just between you and me, and we don't want everyone to do this, but I allow myself a 3-minute pity party.
Good.
I start in the morning or at night and say, oh my God, I had to shovel my snow.
Sure.
I had to get out of the car. I allow myself that because I think there is a balance to life. Would you agree?
I totally agree.
With that?
There's a perfection. I actually have a written goal. My bliss list, and I've had it for every day for 7 years. My top bliss list item is to be in a positive emotional state greater than or equal to 95% of the time. I allow myself to have a bad pity party, and then it's good when you recognize the F-bomb, fear. Let's say fear seeps in somewhere. There's 4 things you can do. You can either repress it, suppress it, express it, or
slower, please.
Oh, I'm in a zone.
You're in the zone. What can we do with fear? By the way, before you tell me what we can do with fear, I have 2 quotes that I always use with fear. Can I tell you?
Yes, please do.
False evidence appearing real.
It's in my book.
In your book? I think I read it there. But also faithless emotion.
Ooh.
appearing real. So
I like that.
The faithless emotion is this whole thing about faith. So tell me about fear.
Fear is an illusion. Fear is a lie. Fear is not happening. It's usually associated with the future. And we know with the law of attraction, fear attracts like. Fear attracts fear. It might be in a different form. Mm-hmm. But fear is a real negative emotion. It's one that when you can notice that it seeps in to you somehow, you recognize it, you don't repress it, suppress it, express it, or escape from it, which are the 4 ways people really deal with their emotions.
How do they do it? Give me the 4 ways and describe them for me, please.
Let's say you experience fear. I'm afraid of heights, and I look out the window. We're 7 floors up.
Okay.
If I had that fear, it's irrational. I'm sitting in a chair and I'm inside a building.
Okay.
So it's the fear is always a lie. It's a fear of a future event. It's a fear that I could in the future maybe fall out this window and I would fall to the ground. Mm-hmm. That fear is transitory, but it's very real to a lot of people.
It's transitory, which means
it's an illusion.
Or
it's changing, it's moving, and
all the time, yeah.
It's in the future. We associate guilt with the past. Guilt is, to me, the past tense of fear. Mm-hmm. And guilt is ridiculous because it's already happened. But thoughts of guilt come from a feeling of guilt. And you could have thousands or millions of thoughts associated to that thing that you have guilt about in the past. The future is ahead of us. And we don't focus on right now. We're so focused on, oh my goodness, I might fall out the window, and I'm afraid of heights, for example. So you recognize that fear, and you say, oh, there you are. You're trying to seep in right now. I wonder what's going on. You can allow yourself to feel it for a little while, 3 minutes, whatever works for you.
30 seconds, maybe.
And you then start laughing at it and say, you're an illusion. You are false evidence appearing real, faithless emotion appearing real. And then you have the ability, as the spirit and the mind that has domain over that fear, to say, bye-bye, I'm going to push you to the side. One of my teachers was Jose Silva, and Silva...
Who wrote?
Yeah.
Tell me what he wrote.
Well, the book that changed my life was back a long time ago.
70s, I think.
Yeah, in the 70s. He was quite a teacher. He wrote the book on mind control.
Method.
And it was the Silva Mind Control Method. Unbelievable book. And... in there, he talks about creative visualization. I'm a big fan of meditative states and visualization, using visualization to create the life you want. So we know that there's no difference between your imagination and reality. In terms of science, science knows that the two are one and the same.
Okay, I'm going to have to stop you. I'm keeping you for the whole hour because, my gosh, you're a fountain of knowledge. And we're having you back where you're going to take calls and help other people to figure out things. I want everyone to know. This is Conversations with Suzanna. This is the show that'll empower them. Today, we're talking to you, JP, about the bliss list. And when we get back, I want you to give me some details about how to create the bliss list, how to make it mine, how to use it in everything we do.
Can do that.
Okay. This is Conversations with Suzanna on World-Herald Live Radio. We're only a button away. Aren't these apps exciting? We'll be right back.
It takes 12 years to create a graduate. It takes about the same time to create a dropout. The difference between a child becoming one or the other could be you. Studies prove that reading to a child regularly dramatically improves reading skills, and kids who read well by 3rd grade are 4 times as likely to graduate. So United Way is calling for 1 million volunteers over the next 3 years. We're asking you to step up, make a pledge, tutor a child who needs help, mentor a kid who needs someone on their side, volunteer to read to children, make a difference. Because when a child advances, we all advance. Entire communities improve. The path to success or failure starts long before graduation day, and the difference between a graduate and a dropout could be you. Be a reader, tutor or mentor, give, Advocate. Volunteer. Live United. Take the pledge. Go to liveunited.org now. Brought to you by United Way and the Ad Council.
Hey, what's up? Holla at ya, boy. XOXOXO. You getting these texts? Question mark. Where are you? What are you doing? OMG, you are making me mad. You better text me back. I'm waiting outside your house.
Relentless, aggressive texting is like sending an angry robot to deliver your message. When does the robot become dangerous? Let us know at that'snotcool.com.
That'snotcool.com.
Brought to you by the Ad Council.
When you were a little kid and you thought about what you wanted to be, teaching was at the top of your list. But things changed. And as you got older, teaching didn't seem like the best option anymore. So you're thinking you'll be something else. But what would your 12-year-old self say? Now you want to be a doctor. You don't think teachers save lives? 25 at a time. An actress? Try playing a different role every time the bell rings. How about a scientist? Ever heard of physics? Chemistry? Who do you think teaches that? Teachers today are breaking down obstacles, finding innovative ways to instill old lessons, and taking learning far beyond the four walls of the classroom. It's time to recognize that great things are happening in teaching and put it back on your list. Don't try to convince yourself otherwise. You had it right the first time.
Find out how you can make more at teach.org. Make more. Teach. Brought to you by Teach and the Ad Council.
This is Tom Osborne, co-founder of the Teammates Mentoring Program. As we start the new year with National Mentoring Month, we want to take time to show gratitude to the 7,000-plus mentors that make an impact on the lives of their mentees. Our message in 2015 is one of gratitude. Thank you to all of our mentors that share their time and talent with their mentees, and to all those that support our mission to positively impact the world by inspiring youth to reach their full potential. At Teammates Mentoring Program, our 2015 resolution is to continue our impact by reaching our goal of serving 10,000 youth in 2015. There are young people that are ready to be matched with a mentor today. Help us close the gap. We hope you'll consider becoming a mentor as part of your new year. For more information on how to become a mentor with Teammates Mentoring Program, visit teammates.org. I mentor. Will you?
I think someone at my friend's school has this thing called autism. My friend's brother's son has autism. My neighbor's son has autism. My son has autism.
Autism is getting closer to home. Today, 1 in 110 children is diagnosed with autism. That's a 600% increase in the last 20 years. Learn the signs at autismspeaks.org.
You are exactly where you need to be. This is Conversations with Suzanna on the World-Herald Radio. Yes, there's an app. We're there right with you in your pocket on your computer. You can hear everything wherever you are because we're mobile. By the way, have you downloaded the Omaha app? That is incredible because it gives you updates on the news, what's coming up. It's all very incredible. And this internet thing, incredible. I have, this is the show that is going to do nothing but inspire you, guide you, help you to get through the drama of everyday living. We all have drama, and really it's about how we handle it is what happens, whether we attach ourselves to it or we just watch it go by us. And so today, in my office, in my studio, I have J.P. Say Hansen. I want to say handsome, but that's how I correlate names, and I thought I'd better not do that because I've seen your beautiful mate. But here's the scoop. J.P., you are 6'5". Is that right? You're a tall glass of water.
I'm tall, but I don't know if I'm a glass of water anymore.
Yes.
It's probably more the pitcher.
Well, I was asking JP on the commercial break, do I look short? And he said, no, you just look grounded. And then you told me about your time. By the way, have you ever been to Sacred Heart Catholic Church here?
Sure.
Oh, I love their music.
Yeah.
rocks the world. But there was a time you were a young Catholic boy. And tell me why you wanted to be taller. You were short.
I'm standing there and couldn't see anything going on, and there's nothing worse than an hour of church without being able to really see what's going on. So I had this desire as a little kid, just looking up in the back of people's heads to be tall. And at the time, I don't know why, I had probably got something in school about Abe Lincoln. Abe Lincoln was 6'5", and I thought that was really tall. And they called him a giant back then in the day. Mm-hmm. So I had this deep intention, this deep desire to be 6'5", and voila, here it is. So that's for all you law of attraction believers, of which I'm one. That
law of attraction is it tells us that what we think about, we bring about.
Correct.
What we think about, we'll be talking to other authors on that. But the bliss list is a little bit about the law of attraction. But before we start talking and letting everybody understand how to do the bliss list, I want to talk about all the awards. Tell me about all the places you've been with this book.
Oh, wow.
You've been on Fox News. I like that.
Fox News. I've been on Daytime America, Daytime TV, which is syndicated 110 markets. Mm-hmm. I've been on a lot of the network affiliates, CBS Atlanta, Evening News, Charlotte, Charleston, Savannah.
So they apparently think you have something to offer.
Apparently, I had a good publicist.
Apparently they think. If I look under your email, yeah. I love reading under emails because the signature says everything, doesn't it? It says an expert career resource, says the LA Times. Forward Book of the Year medal winner. Career Book of the Year award winner. Award of Excellence national finalist. National Best Book Award finalist. And USA Book News. Phenomenal. So this is not something you went in your garage and printed up, although Wayne Dyer, did you hear the story about Wayne
Sure.
Dyer, who you told me you had a picture with, that he would buy his own books and put them in his garage? I just love that because he believed in what he was talking about. But you didn't have to do this because this is...
Well, I did. Wayne had to go and put his books in the garage, and then he went, literally put them in his trunk. We talked about this. Put them in his trunk, and he went around and dropped them off. Of course, one of the people he dropped them off to happened to be somebody named Oprah. So,
yeah.
It didn't hurt.
Didn't hurt at
all. Yeah, and I had an interesting... I was on a cruise with Wayne Dyer, actually, that was sponsored by his publisher, Hay House. And Wayne made a comment that it takes 10 years to become an overnight sensation. Think about that.
Exactly. But with the visualization, we pretend we are that now, and
sure.
it just follows through. Let's talk about the bliss list. This is the workbook.
Yes.
Now, this is one you self-published.
Yep.
And I must tell you, I like how it's set up.
Thank you.
Again, this is the book, The Bliss List. What is a bliss board? You suggest we all start with a bliss board?
Yeah, there's a lot of ways for you to reach what it is you're looking to reach. We're very visual people. Mm-hmm. And as such, there's a lot of power with seeing something. That's why television, podcasts are very important ways to reach people. Well, with a bliss board, it's simply taking what images you like that bring you happiness, genuine, meaningful happiness, mm-hmm. and taking the time, cutting it out, and putting it up on a board. And it's been called Vision Board. It's been called a bunch of other names, and then I'm not the first person to develop one. But I can tell you this, that my bliss board, I have 3 of them, and they work.
Where are they?
In my office, where I see them all the time.
Mm-hmm.
In addition, there's bliss cards. There's a bliss
jar.
We're
going through it all.
All right.
We're going
time. That's right.
So we have the bliss board, and you post it. Now, I'll be honest with you. I have on my, and if you come see me in an appearance, I always give you an affirmation. What was yours, by the way?
I choose peace in all things was the affirmation you gave to me.
Okay.
Yes.
All right.
Still remember it.
And
Good.
so all the thoughts Create that. So when you see these things on the board, you see it. Can you just have pictures of things you want? Like,
sure.
I have a picture in my apartment of France and things like that. So you can just have pictures around, and what you're saying is surround ourselves with what we want.
If you can look at it, and I put them right above where my screen is on my computer.
Okay.
And when you are surrounding yourself with things that you want, that you truly desire, then it brings it that much more into the reality. And we talked about imagination earlier. That's a way of taking imagination and actually turning it into reality on a board.
Mm-hmm. Well, I must tell you, I have a brochure of the car I want in my apartment.
I do too.
And on my home, and as I walk out the door, there's a picture of the car.
What's the car?
Well, you're too young and innocent, and I'm not telling you. Because you'll want one too, and I want to be the only one with it, So it's sort of like, just put it somewhere where you see it.
Yeah.
Is what you're telling us. So a vision board, or a bliss board, is just surrounding yourself with things you want to see. What do you think about in a home, and there's a lot of knickknacks and they're dusty? Does that promote visioning, or does it hurt? I mean,
it goes back to emotions. Two people can see a cloud.
Mm-hmm.
And one person can see the cloud and say, oh no, it's going to rain. We're going to have a storm. I know it's going to be terrible. I'm going to have to shovel again. As did happen.
Mm-hmm.
Or you can say, look at how beautiful that cloud is. It's cumulus. It's a great author word. Cumulus cloud. Mm-hmm. And look at the texture and look at the sun off of it. And isn't it neat that produces the very substance that helps provide for our plants? Two people can look at the same exact picture and have two different images, which is really a reflection of where you're coming from inside. That's basically a projection. Mm-hmm. I like the bliss board to be a projection of where I want to be. So I have happy things. I've got a beautiful beach. I'm not going to say everything on there because you'll copy it.
That's exactly right.
Now, that's an interesting concept.
Uh-huh.
With that notion, it's an abundant universe.
It's an abundant, we all can have it, but I want the one with the brown leather seats, and I'm not going to let you have it.
Okay.
So we're coming back. We're going to come back, and next we're going to talk about the bliss jar. That's an interesting conversation. What kind of jar are we talking? Yes, you are exactly where you need to be. This is Conversations with Suzanna. I forgot my name for a minute. That's not good, JP. Not good at all. Conversations with Suzanna. You can find us here every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. This show is about empowering you, making you the best you can be, helping you get the knowledge to take you to the next level. Life is all about going to the next level. We'll be right back. And I'm going to have my wonderful Chad, our producer, take it away.
My new mom and I have a lot in common.
The great outside.
We both love the outdoors.
They're shiny.
That's not a flower. We both love geology.
Oh, look. An igneous one.
That's not a rock. And she knows a lot about wildlife.
A labradoodle.
That's not a dog. Hanging out has been kind of fun.
You don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. Thousands of kids in foster care will take you just as you are.
My name is Charles. My name is Charles. One day I had a sudden headache. I had a headache. My arm went numb and I felt confused. My arm went tingly. I was having a stroke. My wife dialed 911. I had a stroke on the bus. Seconds made all the difference.
If you or someone you know has any of these symptoms, don't wait. Call 911.
Time lost is braid lost.
For more information, visit powertoendstroke.org. Brought to you by the American Heart Association, American Stroke Association, and the Ad Council.
My name is Dale Pazinski, and this is how I live United. I volunteer with United Way, helping the homeless in my community by teaching computer skills and helping them build a basic resume to save on their very own USB drive. It's huge when somebody says, "Hey man, that job that you helped me apply for, I got it." My name is Dale Pazinski. I help people achieve financial independence. So I don't just wear the shirt, I live it.
Give, advocate, volunteer, Live United. Go to liveunited.org. Brought to you by United Way and the Ad Council.
It is with great pleasure that I welcome you to today's graduation ceremony. Students, when you hear the reason or reasons for your absences throughout the years, please exit the auditorium without your high school diploma. Once you've exited, remove your cap and gown and proceed into the unknown. Too tired. Family trip. Part-time job. Helping around the house. Sick day. Starting the holidays early. Just because.
Starting in the 6th grade, students who miss 18 days or more of school in a year for any reason will fall behind and risk not graduating high school. How many days of school has your child missed this year? Absences add up. Keep track at boostattendance.org today. Brought to you by the U.S. Army and the Ad Council.
We have to clear out this garage. This old paint's gotta go.
I know. Good thing I just heard about Under the Sink.
What's that?
The place where you drop off all the hard-to-dispose-of stuff.
Great, now we can help keep Omaha beautiful and keep our home looking beautiful, too.
Under the Sink at 120th and I Street is a free service from the City of Omaha. You can bring things like paint and auto fluids, items not accepted, or tires, electronics, ammunition, explosives, asbestos, radioactive items, yard waste, garbage, and waste from businesses. Open Wednesdays and Fridays 9 to 5, Thursdays 9 to 6:30, and Saturdays 9 to 1. Closed Sunday through Tuesday. See more at underthesink.org. Call 444-7465. A message from Keep Omaha Beautiful, Inc.
Confessions of a Potentially Perfect Parent, brought to you by AdoptUsKids.org.
Okay, here goes. I know more about cooking dinner for a party of 12 than I do about packing a lunch for a 12-year-old. I know kids like things like PB&J, pigs in a blanket. Oh, and fish sticks. They do love fish sticks. Fillets I get, but sticks? What part of the fish does the stick come from? I know I can read a cookbook that'll tell me how to make a red wine reduction. But where are the cookbooks that can teach me how to cut the crusts off bologna sandwiches? Oh, maybe we can compromise on mac and cheese. Can you make that with brie? But everybody likes brie, right?
You don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. There are thousands of teens in foster care who would love to push your food around their plate. Call 1-888-200-4005 or visit AdoptUsKids.org for more information. This message brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt Us Kids, and the Ad Council.
You are exactly where you need to be. This is Conversations with Suzanna on World-Herald Radio. Yes, the radio show that goes everywhere you are. Just put it in your pocket, on your computer. We're here, and we're talking today about bliss. And let me just tell you, one of the most wonderful things I have in my life is helping others realize it is their divine right to be happy. And I'm amazed, JP, that a lot of people believe that struggle, and I'm talking to J.P. Hansen, who wrote the Bliss List, a lot of people believe that struggle is a natural state of being.
Sure. They're in hospitals. They're out on the benches underneath. And I'm not going to take a shot at the sick and the homeless, because they're on their own place. But, boy, if you have the choice, and all of it's a choice.
But most people don't realize we have a choice. Most people don't realize we have the choice, which is why this show is all about. We are here to give you choices. Choices to inspire you, to help you to make each day better. So, we're now taking another look at your book, and it's called Opening New Doors to Bliss. Opening New Doors to Bliss. Again, what is bliss?
Bliss is defined in the Bliss List as meaningful happiness.
Meaningful happiness. And you have us writing down our dream jobs. Tell me about that.
Most people have a difficult time, like you just mentioned, with just the word bliss. So I take the word bliss that it might have a mystical, out there, not in here, meaning to somebody and make it into meaningful happiness. Everybody can understand meaningful happiness. People may not see themselves as being happy, but you know that it's something that's possible. From there, ask the reader just to simply think about what makes you happy, what brings meaningful happiness to you, and then taking the time to write it down. And it doesn't have to be what's going to bring me the bucks, although there's plenty of that can come from it. Actually, you're better off at first not to have money cloud the equation.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's very important with the...
Because as Campbell said, you find your bliss in what? What was
Follow your bliss, and doors will open where they never were open before.
Including into the bank account.
Sure.
Including into the bank account. Okay, go ahead. I had to...
People are capable of great things. And whether you think you can or whether you think you can't, either way you're right. That's Henry Ford.
Mm-hmm.
And what wisdom in that? Because it is a choice. So I ask somebody to spend the time to actually write down what makes them happy.
Mm-hmm.
And at first it's write down 15 things. Some people struggle with coming up with 15, but it's just whatever comes to mind. It doesn't matter. It can be a flower. It can be a game you play. It can, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't have to be work related. Doesn't have to be related to your spouse, although that's nice, but it can be anything.
Mm-hmm.
Then pare the list down to 7. And there's a little science behind that, because scientists believe that the brain is capable of handling 7 concepts at once. It's like their computer. If you have too many applications open, it'll run real slow and sometimes will crash.
So we want to really focus on what our bliss is?
And then once you do that, I have bliss cards that are available.
Well, we have to go. You don't lead this. I lead this.
I love it.
You know, I mean, you're like my little favorite guy who has so much knowledge you just want to give it out. The question about the bliss and the bliss list, when we make the list and jobs, would you call being a parent a job?
Being a parent is an important job, sure.
It's the most important,
sure.
I think.
Sure.
So, you know, this is not just for somebody who gets a paycheck.
No.
It can be for somebody who has just love.
Sure.
I think love is the bigger payoff.
I have a life coach client that has not worked, has raised 3 kids, and I can tell you that what she's done with those kids has been work. She now is faced with wanting to do something other than being a mom. The kids are all out of the house. She got a copy of the book, and she's hired me as a life coach, and she wants me to help guide her through the process. It'll be a lot of fun for me. I do this, and this is fun. The first thing she has to do is write down what it is that makes me happy. And the relationship part of it is great for her. If it weren't for relationships, we wouldn't be here. There'd be no purpose to come to this crazy planet from up there and around there, because it's the relationships really that bring us here. So could be part of her bliss, but she wants to apply it to work. And this is hard for her because she's been so caught in the relationship end of living that she's never really thought about what is it that I would really want to do. I have the story that my mother started up her own business, and it was called Color and You. She sold makeup, and she did I happen to be a summer because I have the summer pigment.
Yes, I'm a winter.
You're a winter, so you look good in what you're wearing, black.
Yes.
And I blue-based and pastel.
So this is Mama.
Mommy would say you're in the summer. She was a spring, and you naturally gravitate to that color, the colors that are part of your season. And a painter does this. Picasso was a winter. Picasso's paintings reflect that. Monet and Manet were summers.
All right, we're getting off the bliss.
I
Now
know,
let's go back. What about your mother? What
So
about your mother starting a job?
My mother raised 4 kids, and then all of a sudden we all were gone. And she said, this is where life is not going to end for me. This is where it's going to begin. So she started her own business. And in many ways, I would say found her bliss because she's always been interested in a lot of these elements. She's very fashion oriented, loves looking her best, and was very interested in fashion. So I think she took all those interests and tailored it into something that brought her happiness, meaningful happiness.
Marvelous. And
it's
about engaging.
Yeah.
It's about engaging with people. You can sit in a room, you can talk to yourself, or the computer, but you're not going to get that much happiness. So tell me about this bliss jar. What is this bliss jar?
Once the bliss list is established, it is something that you can refer to like we were talking about the bliss boards. A bliss jar is a further way to amplify what is energy, basically a thought and a feeling attached to that thought is energy. So the trick is consciously say what brings meaningful happiness, write it down. And in a bliss jar, write down different things and be very specific. Clarity is important and the way you word it is important. Write it down, and it can be anything. It can be an affirmation. It could be anything. And simply put it in a jar. And I use I love Mario Olives. So I don't get that's not a plug. I don't get anything from them. But I love the jar is the right size. You can get fancy with them if you want. I just use that jar. And on top of the jar, I have a note that says whatever is contained in this jar is. And I put in some different crazy all over the board goals and things that I have.
So it's a goal.
It's your intention jar.
Your intention jar.
Yeah.
I like that.
And I'll tell you what's funny is that every once in a while I'll pick it up and I'll look at it and I'll go, whoa, this happened. I don't even remember writing this. What in that? I had written wine cellar. Okay, I'm revealing that I do enjoy a good wine, probably better than it should be, and always had an interest in having a wine cellar. And here I am in a house now that has a wine cellar.
Wonderful.
Didn't even remember putting that in.
I'll look forward to dinner at that time.
Yeah, sure. I don't know how full it is anymore, but it's
well, you can get it full. We're going to take a break again, and we'll be right back with you, J.P. Hansen, because we've got other questions. We want to talk about what's coming up. And by the way, on the commercials you heard about bullying, we're going to have an expert from the police department in here to talk to us about bullying and how to work around it. You know, our words are power. And here at Conversations with Suzanna, it's all about finding the words that will empower you into your tomorrow. And the show is about entertaining you as well as empowering you. And we want your ideas. If there's something you want to talk about, please come to us on Facebook or Twitter. It should be on the app. And then we'll be able to delve into any subject you want. This show is centered around empowering you to be the best you can be in every moment of your life. This is Conversations with Suzanna. We'll be right back. Stay tuned.
Every hiring manager knows that a company is only as good as the people it's made from. So where do you find the best people? That may surprise you.
Meet the grads of life. Young adults of unique determination and experience. An ideal fit for your company in an entry-level position, internship, or even mentorship. They might not have every qualification you typically look for, but they're exactly who your company needs.
This is talent worth knowing about.
Go to gradsoflife.org to learn how to find, cultivate, and train this great pool of untapped talent. Brought to you by the Ad Council and gradsoflife.org.
I'm in the car next to you on the highway. I sit in front of you on the bus. I'm one out of every 6 Americans, and I'm struggling with hunger. This isn't an uncontrollable epidemic. There's enough food in this country to feed every hungry person. Please, visit feedingamerica.org today and find your local food bank. Every dollar you donate helps provide 7 meals for those around you, quietly struggling with hunger. Together, we're Feeding America.
Brought to you by Feeding America and the Ad Council.
Take a look under your bed. Find stuff under there? What about jobs? No? Now try your basement. There's a pair of overalls that overall you're not so into anymore. A perfectly good laptop that hasn't seen your lap in months. And even more stuff. But still no jobs? Well, you really have both. See, stuff is defined as household articles considered as a group. Sometimes this stuff is no longer needed. Wait, no longer needed? That can't be right. Because remember those jobs you were looking for? Those are really needed. And they're the stuff inside your stuff. Even inside that winter coat that moved with you to Phoenix. Our job is to unlock those jobs. And it starts when you donate your stuff to your local Goodwill. Here's how we do it. When you donate to Goodwill, we sell your stuff to provide job training for people right here in your community. So just by teaming up with Goodwill, you help create jobs. And isn't that worth parting with the leftover keytar from your 80s cover band? Goodwill. Donate stuff, create jobs. Find your nearest donation center at goodwill.org. A message from Goodwill and the Ad Council.
Is your dog getting into trouble digging in the trash, not listening? Come exercise his brain and his body at the Nebraska Humane Society. Whether he needs a tune-up, basic obedience, or even in-home training, we've got classes that work for you. Go to nehumanesociety.org. Best of all, proceeds stay at the shelter, so as you work with your dog, you help care for hundreds of hours. Come sit, stay, and learn at the Nebraska Humane Society.
Come on, hit a homer, Jesse.
Let's go, guys.
Hey, did you guys know that kids who play sports earn more money when they grow up?
Of course. I knew that.
Hey, did you guys know that kids who read books have a bigger vocabulary?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Mm-hmm.
Wow, jinx. Did you guys know that friendly children have more friends?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
That's true. I knew that. Did you guys know that winter babies are better at music?
Everyone knows that.
Oh, yeah?
It's pretty obvious.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
obvious.
Oh, hey, guys, did you know that most people think they're using the right car seat for their kid, but they're not?
Huh. I didn't know that.
I'm pretty sure I knew that.
I'm pretty sure you didn't.
Parents who really know it all know for sure that their child is in the right car seat at the right age and size. Visit safercar.gov/the right seat to make sure your child is protected. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Listen, as a hiring manager, I've got to tell you, the best job candidate isn't always the typical candidate. Sometimes they're a grad of life.
Meet the grads of life. Young adults of unique determination and experience, an ideal fit for your company in an entry-level position, internship, or mentorship. They might not have every qualification you typically look for, but they're exactly who your company needs.
Sometimes the best candidates aren't the ones you're used to.
Go to gradsoflife.org to learn how to find, cultivate, and train this great pool of untapped talent. Brought to you by the Ad Council and gradsoflife.org.
How do you, oh, you can't hear that music. It's a little air dancing music, just getting our moods together. This is Conversations with Suzanna. You are exactly where you need to be to grow, to be better in every moment. It's the knowledge we have inside us that is really, that really helps us to propel us to a state of happiness and a state of bliss. This show is all about entertaining you, but giving you information you can have around the cooler. You can sit and talk to your buddies and sound like a genius. We're just going to give you information that you will need. We're going to be talking later in other shows in March about bullying, about self-defense, a whole bunch of things. Also, we are scheduling back J.P. Hansen, who wrote the Bliss List. And I'm holding the Bliss List journal. You can see the Bliss List book right up there. He is scheduled to be back on the show March 25th. Tell me what we'll do on March 25th. We'll take calls.
Perfect.
They take calls, and what will you help them do on these calls?
Yeah, I've had a lot of people call after reading the book or even before. It's helpful if you've read the book, then your questions are more direct and pertain to finding your dream job.
No, they're not going to have time to read the book.
Oh, come on.
Well, if they do or if they don't, they can call in, right?
You just used a 4-letter word.
That's right.
They don't have time between now. It's a month and a half from now?
No,
it's not that much stuff in the book.
Don't ever argue with the hostess. That's not good. However, if they don't read the book,
sure,
and they just want to find their bliss, can they call and get some insight on?
Yeah.
And you can guide them on that. That will be on March 25th. We will have J.P. Hansen back with the Bliss List. If you get a chance to look at the book, it's a phenomenal book. But I like the journal. I'll be honest with you. The journal hits me home. I am what I call a book puller. And you were bragging about how I researched the book.
Yep.
Spirit opens the book to the pages I want to ask you about. But you telling me, as you're writing a new book called Coming Up Soon, you telling me how you get ready to write the book. Tell me about that.
I always meditate first thing in the morning before my feet hit the ground. And I'll do it for a minimum of 15 minutes. If I wake up before my alarm goes off, I'll reward myself with a little longer meditation. And I will quiet that chattering monkey, that incessant critic that is talking to us and feeding us lies.
Feeding us lies. I love that. Say that again. Feeding us lies.
Feeding us lies.
We are God incarnate. Of course it's feeding us lies, but go ahead.
Take away the negativity, and that chattering monkey goes bye-bye and starves.
That's exactly.
But at that time for me is a time when I can quiet my mind and apply some of the Jose Silva visualization that I've loved. He's one of my teachers. And I can quiet my mind to the point where I get all sorts of insight. And I didn't write the book. It came to me. And so I go in
You
the
were
other
just
room.
in the flow.
I was in the flow. I go in the other room, and I'm the kind of guy that can write at 3 a.m. and be happy as a clam. Most people would rather stick pins and needles in their eyes. So my bliss list is different than most people's.
Well, one of the things that I do, and I'm not as organized as you are, because you're very linear. You're more linear than I am. But one of the things I do, I'm lazy. So what I do before I go to bed, because how you go to bed is really good.
Sure.
And how when you get up is...
Conversations with Suzanna, broadcasting live on the World-Herald Live app or on omaha.com. Catch her every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, empowering you to look for and accept the good in everything. This is Conversations with Suzanna.
You are exactly where you need to be. Yes, this is Conversations with Suzanna. Do me a favor. Just open the door, come on in, sit down, and let's have a conversation about what's important in your life, what's important in the lives of those you work with. This show is centered around entertaining you, inspiring you, and giving you information and ideas to create the life you want. Also, we'll peek into the future a little bit later, so stay tuned. Our guest today, I'm pretty excited. I'm in his studio, and I am here with Michael L. Sevier. Hello, Michael.
Hello, Susanna. How are you?
I am honored to be in your chair. I'm honored to be in your studio.
Is the chair comfortable?
The chair is comfortable.
It's a good chair.
You've warmed it up real well for me. The reason I wanted to do an interview with you is because you are the forerunner of what now is Omaha Network Live.
Yeah, World-Herald Live.
World-Herald Live.
Internet radio.
Internet radio.
If you forget it, you can look behind you and they got that big old board that says World-Herald Live on there.
Oh my God, I've got that. I've got that now.
Yes.
Here's the scoop though.
Okay.
You started the show,
right.
TBL, the bottom line, in March. Is that correct?
March 3rd was the first day of the show, yep.
Tell me a little bit about Michael. Now, first of all, I know Michael has 2 children. Is that correct?
I have 2 boys, yes, Miles and Logan.
And how old are your boys?
They're 9 and 5.
Okay.
Logan will be 6 in April.
Okay. And you're married?
I am married to Chris, yes. Chris she's a native of Omaha. Actually, Bellevue, I guess.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's talk about where you're native. And what we're doing with this conversation, nothing about sports.
Okay, that's fine.
You cover sports completely.
Yeah, we try.
You know, if you want to listen to sports, you'll go on World-Herald Live and listen to you from 2 to 6.
Right, yep.
Okay.
Yep.
So let's talk about Michael.
Okay.
All right. Michael, where are you from?
Oh, all over? That's a difficult question to answer.
Okay.
I was born in Los Angeles. I was there for about 3 weeks. And my first cousin came and got me from New Orleans. My dad hooked up with this woman who had me. I guess you call her my mother. And she went to California, and he called his niece, Juanita, and said, hey, we're having a boy, and we wonder if you want to take care of him. And she said, yeah. And so for the first time in her life, she got on a plane. She had never been on a plane before.
Wow.
She got on a plane, and she flew out to California. It's 1969. Didn't know where she was going. Luckily, we have family out there. She tracked them down, found the hospital, and went and got me and brought me back to New Orleans.
Awesome. So you were raised by?
I was raised by, for 3 years, I stayed in New Orleans with Juanita, who is my first cousin, who I call my mom. And then my dad, who was kind of feeling his mortality, because by that time he was 62 years old.
Wow.
And so he, decided to take me up to Pennsylvania, the area up there for a while, for like the summer, right?
Right.
Ended up staying for 8 years. So he took me to New York. I stayed with my aunt, Vivian, in New York in the Bronx for about 4 years. She moved back to New Orleans. So then I moved to Pennsylvania where I stayed with a couple of different relatives. His daughter from his first marriage. I stayed with multiple people all over the place. Easton, Pottsville, Allentown. If there's a town in Pennsylvania, I probably lived in it. And then he passed away when I was 10. And then I moved back to New Orleans. And I did high school there in New Orleans.
Okay, the question is.
Yeah.
You know, there are people who say, oh, my God, my life was so rough.
No, I don't say
I can barely handle it.
Right.
So, and oftentimes, and one of the things we're going to do here is help us to deal with the issues that we have and to learn to let them go.
Mm-hmm.
You seem to have surpassed your building. Tell me what you learned from your childhood.
I learned how to make friends. I learned how to meet a lot of different people. Recreate yourself in wherever you go. Like, different places, you had to have a different attitude. Like, when I lived in the Bronx, I had to have a different attitude than when I lived in New Orleans. I had to have a different attitude than when I lived in the country and outside of Easton, or in Quakertown. And you kind of recreate yourself depending on where you are and what you need to do, as a child. You learn that pretty quickly. And, learned how to adjust to different teachers and schools. I think that helped me out, in life to be able, because once I finished high school, I went to the military, I moved around again, I lived a bunch of different places then, so I think that childhood prepared me for real life eventually.
It did.
Yeah.
I do believe our lessons of our life guide us.
Mm-hmm.
So tell me what you want as a father to provide your two children.
I just don't want to screw it up. That's all. My main goal is to not screw it up. That's about, like I said, I had a weird, childhood with my father and him passing away and then being raised by a family member, and she was married for a while and then got divorced. And so, like, the men in my life have always been like an uncle or somebody like that. So, I want to be there, as long as I can be. I try to eat healthy so I can stay around for a little while. But, just the goal is, I think my wife and I's both the same goal is don't screw it up,
Well, I always believe that we do the best we can in the moment.
Oh, heck yeah.
And I know that's who you are. But what would you say one of your strong points as a father is?
Oh,
besides being present, because I know you're present.
Yeah, I would say, and I've said this, when Miles was born, he was born with a I guess you call it a facial deformity. He's born with a disease called, or a syndrome known as Treacher-Collins syndrome, which affects, one of the genes that develops between where your chin is through, say, just below your eyes. And so because of that, he doesn't have cheekbones, he doesn't have ears, he doesn't look like what somebody might call normal. And so I thought I could help him with that, because as being a mixed child growing up in different places, I know I received my share of criticism, for, being darker and having straight hair and all that. So I thought I could help him with that, make him understand that he is who he is. Doesn't matter what anybody else says about him. He's got to be able to be strong in all situations and deal with it. I think I'm good with relating to them pretty well. I have fun with them. They have fun with me. They know we play a lot. And at the same time, I'm the one that does most of the yelling too. So.
Mm-hmm. So criticism. That's a big thing in our business, isn't it?
Criticism? Oh yeah.
Yeah. Tell me how you personally handle criticism.
There's a couple different ways you can do it. One, you could ignore it. Another way is you can win people over. I've always thought it was funny, whether you're on social media or email on a phone call with somebody and they're mad at you, and then you explain them your point and your position, and by the end of that relationship you have with them, they're like, oh, okay, I understand. And they're fine with you,
So
you can win them over.
It's basically about listening.
Yeah, it's
about listening.
And it's about telling people what your point is. Because nowadays, whether it be email or text or a tweet, you don't get to tell them everything. Sarcasm's not easily conveyed. Yeah. So once you get a chance to be able to explain yourself in a longer form, a lot of times people will be like, oh, okay, I see what you're saying now, and it's fine. So that's probably the easiest way. And then there are some people that don't like you, and that's never going to change. People that don't like you just don't like you, and you just move on for them.
And how do you feel?
Or block them.
How do you feel when people don't like you?
Oh, I assume everybody doesn't like me. I start off with the premise that people aren't going to like me because I have a personality that can be annoying.
Call it like you see it.
Yeah, it can be annoying. It can be grating. It can be acidic at times. So I know that. So I've always gone in every situation. I have a limited number of friends, and I'm good with that. Guys that have known me majority of my life. But I usually don't expect to make new friends. That's not something I expect. And so I don't, like I said, I go in every situation expecting people not to like me. And if they do, it's a bonus.
I always tell everyone, one of the things I say is, I had a friend who walked on water and they didn't like him and they crucified him.
They did. Yes.
I don't think we're going to have that problem.
That's right.
That's been outlawed.
Yes.
So you and I are pretty safe on that.
At least in this country, yes, we are.
Yes, at least. The other thing is, I always say, if people don't like me, they don't know me.
Right. Well, see, they might not like me. They may know me and not like me, though. That's the difference.
No, I don't think so. I like your enthusiasm. I like your enthusiasm. So, did you play sports?
I did. I played a little bit of everything. I moved so much as a young kid. The only thing I did consistently from, say, 4 years old through 10 was Cub Scouts and Weeblos. I did that pretty consistently no matter where I went because it was really easy. But I played, I swam when I was young. I played basketball. I played a little bit of baseball. When I got to New Orleans, I played a little bit of everything. But mainly my sister got me hooked in tennis. And when I couldn't play football anymore because of my knees, I continued to play tennis. And so I played tennis through the rest of high school. And up until probably, I'd say, 2000, I played tennis 5-6 times a week. I loved it.
Wow.
And all of a sudden I don't play at all anymore, which is funny to me, but I don't have time.
Have you tried racquetball?
Never. I never liked it. I didn't like it when the first time I tried racquetball was the first time I joined a club, a workout club. Tried it, didn't like it. Didn't like the little room. Never liked it.
You know why I love it?
Why?
You don't spend 10 minutes looking for the darn ball.
Well, you're not gonna. The ball's yellow in tennis. How are you gonna lose the ball? Even with
are you
playing
kidding
with Miles.
me? I always lost the ball.
Even with playing with Miles, who hits the ball over the wall a lot, we can always find it.
Yeah. How long? Have you ever timed it?
How long it take? Oh, a couple seconds. It never takes very long.
Really?
Yeah, we don't lose it. No,
you must have
we usually hit on the wall first, and then we go over to the court. And so on the court, it's easy because there's fences around the court, and so the ball doesn't get away. Now, occasionally hits it over the wall that we hit on, but it's easy to find. I don't think we've ever lost one yet.
Really?
Not yet. No.
I'm so impressed.
They're yellow. They're easy to find. They stand out.
Not if the grass is brown.
Then it's still yellow.
Okay, fine. Leave it alone.
Okay.
So if you were to the TBL.
Yeah. The bottom line.
How did you start getting into sports? Because if I understand this right, you were once on TV.
I was. I worked at Channel 7. I was in TV news for 16 years. I started 1995 was my first year in TV news, and that was in New Orleans as producing and stuff. Then I got a job in Monroe, Louisiana. Then from Monroe I went to Albuquerque, and then from Albuquerque I went here and worked here for 8 years for KETV as the morning reporter. But how I get into sports? I was always a sports fan from a little kid. My cousins, matter of fact, one of them Gregory, still calls me Spaz. Because Spaz, short for spasmatic. Because I knew all the stats of all the teams and all the players. By the time I was like 7 or 8, I knew all of those. So by the time I got to New Orleans as a 10-year-old, I knew all this stuff, and people were like, well, how do you know all this stuff? And I was like, I memorized a lot of it. And so, that's what he called me. Yeah. So I was always into where they went to college, what they did, what were their strengths and weaknesses in the sport. And so, I've always been interested in sports. And it's changed. I probably was a basketball fan I was a baseball fan first, then probably more of an NBA fan second, and then, a football fan, NFL fan after that. And so I've kind of migrated along to being, primarily a football fan now.
And what is the name of your team again?
Mine? The New Orleans Saints. I'm a New Orleans Saints fan. There's a picture right there, Dome Patrol.
Okay. The first time I met you, you were wearing I didn't know what it was. I thought it was crosses.
My Saints lanyard.
Yes.
Those are fleur-de-lis.
Yes.
Yes, that's the flower of France. It was the one they took in a battle when they would go to war, which if you turn it sideways, you see it's actually a frog.
No.
Yes, it was a frog. Yes.
That was their battle. I'm going to have to look at it more. As a matter of fact, I bought an iPad case with it.
Yes, you did.
And you don't do iPads.
I don't
Why
do
is
Apple.
that?
I don't do Apple. Only apples I do, usually Royal Gala, maybe Honeycrisp. John of Gold. I don't play around with Apple technology. I don't like. Actually, that's an Apple computer over there. I don't like it though.
Okay.
We have an adversarial relationship.
Not
a fan.
And so, what is it you hope to do with your show? The bottom line.
Oh, the goal. I mean, the goal is to entertain people. More than anything else. Give people something to listen to when they need something to listen to. Like for example, we had the snowstorm that came through a couple weeks ago, and people got to listen to. They go shovel, right? So what do? You don't want to go shovel, but you got to. So you throw your headphones on, you go to the TBL app, and you listen to the show. And I hope that we can entertain you enough on the show to where we can kill some time.
Okay.
That's the goal. Take you from one thing to the other, whether you're driving or shoveling snow or whatever you're doing.
Well, the question now I have is, what is your perfect day?
My perfect day?
Your perfect day. Have you ever thought what your perfect day was?
Well, it would involve the Saints winning a Super Bowl. That would be my perfect day. That would be pretty good.
Okay, but if we were going to go daily.
Oh, daily.
How would you do a perfect day?
I don't know. And I've told you this before, my goal in life, I don't look for happiness. I'm not one of those people that worry about being happy. I just worry about going from day to day. So my day is the exact same every day. My alarm goes off at 5:40, which I'm going to move up to 5:30. I've decided I need another 10 minutes. 5:40, I get up, I go downstairs to the gym down here in the building. I go back, I get the boys ready. Bus comes around 8. They get on the bus. I come to work. I'm here through, 6. Leave here by 6:30, go home, make dinner, or go out to eat, whatever we're going to do, and watch my sports and my TV shows that I watch, and, go to bed around 1 or so, and next day starts over.
Is that what you would call a perfect day?
That's my day. I don't know if it's a perfect day, but it's my day. That's my day for the most part.
And what would you do if you had all the money in the world, didn't have to work?
I would never not work. I would never not work. I love work. For most of my life, I worked 2 jobs. I started working 2 jobs when I was 17, and I worked 2 jobs. My first 2 jobs, working at Kroger in the produce department and working and delivering pizza. Those were my first 2 jobs. Well, actually, I cooked pizza first, then I bought a truck, and I could deliver pizza. And I've always worked 2 jobs. I enjoy working. I like getting up in the morning. I'm not a sleep-in person. I never have been. I'm not an overly sleepy person.
Apparently not if you're willing to wake up at 5:40 to exercise.
Moving that to 5:30 too.
All right,
I need my extra 10 minutes.
Okay.
But I've just never been a person that like to sit around. I don't sit around. I've never been a person that sits around. What am I going to do? I don't like staying in bed. My wife sleeps. She gets that out of it. She does that. I'm not a big sleeper.
Okay.
I got too much stuff to do.
Okay.
I got dishes got to get done. I got to get the washing machine. I got to get clothes ready.
So you're a full service metro man.
Yeah, I haven't had a manicure in a long time, but I would like to get one.
That's wrong.
I know.
How about the pedicures?
I've never had a pedicure. Don't really like it. Take care of my own feet. I'm good with that. My thing is, I don't have the time a lot of times to get the stuff that I want to get done. So I get everything I can, and then if I have an extra couple of minutes, I'm going to get over and get my fingernails done, my hands
So if
massaged.
you were to make time for joy, what would it be?
I like going to the movies.
Marvelous.
That'd probably be it. I like going to the movies.
Marvelous. We'll be right back. This is Conversations with Suzanna. Stay tuned. You are exactly where you need to be. This is Conversations with Suzanna, heard live on World-Herald Live. This is the show that is going to entertain you, empower you, and help you to grow in your life so life is a little bit easier. What we have to do is just open the door to knowledge, open the door to understanding, listen and grow together. You're going to be able to call in. Today's not a call-in show, but later you're going to be able to call in, or earlier, as a matter of fact, you're going to be able to call in. This show, we want to propel you into new ideas and new things that will inspire you. The first thing I want to talk to you about is sweating. Hello, I'm welcoming to our show now Paddy Tarlton.
Tarlton.
Tarlton. I am so bad with English.
That's okay.
It's my born language, but it's one of those I'm working on really well. Patty, tell me a little bit about you a little bit. You've taught yoga for how many years?
I've taught yoga for 13 years. I am originally a classically trained dancer. I have a Bachelor of Fine Arts in Modern Dance Performance from Oklahoma University. And have been dancing with semi-professional dance companies pretty much throughout my life. As a teacher, a dancer, and a choreographer. And just kind of was forced into shifting to yoga. But it's.
Why were you forced?
I fell down my basement stairs stepping over my cat.
Okay.
So it hurt.
Bad?
Kinda. Yeah.
Mhm.
It was kinda owie. And, so I had to quit teaching and dancing and that and tried to go into rehabilitation of, my neck and my back. So I had a friend who said, hey, there's this yoga. Come try this yoga. I think it'll help you. And I went to the class and was really limited in what I could do. But, it just saved me really when honestly nothing else could. It pulled me out like I was drowning. The minute I took the class, I knew that I was going to heal and get better, and it was a path, and it was going to change my life, but it was going to take a long time, and it did. But that's how I got started with it.
So it started, you were injured. So would you say yoga is something good that is almost a passive exercise to help you to get better?
Well, I do. I think that there's many types of yoga, and some yogas work from the inside out, and some yogas work from the outside in.
Mm-hmm.
For me, Bikram yoga works from the outside in because it's a very physical yoga. It's a beginning series. Anybody can do it. It's just made a little challenging because you're in a room that's 105 with 40% humidity. But it's a set series of 26 poses, 2 breathing exercises. It's done the same way every time. Anywhere you go in the world and you go to a Bikram studio, it's the same thing. You know exactly what to expect. So if you go to
they all use the 26 poses.
They all use the 26 poses. They all use the same dialogue in English or whatever language. So even if you go to Germany or France and you take a Bikram class, it may be in French, but you know exactly what you're doing because you've done it at other Bikram studios.
So is Bikram yoga good for if you're healing, or do we do a more passive yoga?
I think it's a very healing yoga, and it's healed hundreds of thousands of people. Just when I went to training, there were 443 of us going to training, and every one of us had come from some kind of issue. We were all hobbling around on one broken wheel one way or another. Mm-hmm. And for me, it healed my neck and my spine and stopped the pain, and I was able to, lose weight and finally get back into shape. So I think, it's a system of yoga that works you skin to bones, inside out. Every system, every cell, every organ, everything is stimulated. Everything starts moving, and it's a path. It starts out kind of rough. You think, I don't think I'm going to do it, but it ends up being a lot quicker healing process than you think. So I was surprised at how much better I felt so quickly. And it just, it's just an awesome, awesome series to help you, and it works you from the outside in. So once you start feeling better physically, then you start feeling better mentally. Once you start feeling better, then you start looking better. Then it's just all one big thing. So if you don't feel good, you're not going to look good, and you're not going to, you're just going to be a big bag of blech.
So Bikram, it's a heat. You sweat.
Yeah. It's 90 minutes in a room. Mm-hmm. That's 105, 40% humidity.
So you're doing a lot of sweating.
Mm-hmm.
What does the sweat do for your body? Is that Tell me about what sweat
Well,
is.
it's a detoxifying process. I mean, you detoxify in the Bikram class. You detoxify a couple of ways. You detoxify through the breath, through both of the breathing exercises, plus, consistent breathing throughout the class. You also detoxify through the sweat, getting the toxins out through the skin, stimulating your organs. So when you leave, you can then detoxify in the privacy of your own home, So the sweat helps to detoxify the body. It helps to keep the body warm, the muscles warm, so you don't cramp, so you don't injure yourself. And the beautiful thing about the Bikram practice is that the teacher talks nonstop throughout the class. I tell you exactly what to do, step by step by step by step. I show you modifications if you can't do things. It's important that you try it the right way, so you don't hurt yourself. There's a lot out there about yoga hurting yourself or hurting people, and I don't know anybody that's ever been hurt by Bikram yoga because the teacher talks to you nonstop exactly what to do.
So the sweating, if we're sweating and we're doing all this, do we need to change how we hydrate?
Sure. Yeah. It's important that you hydrate before you're coming to class. Certainly, I allow water in the room, of course. So you drink, a liter while you're in there, maybe sometimes more. And then certainly after class, I encourage the students to drink at least half their body weight in ounces. So
seriously?
Yeah. So I'm about 120, so that would be 60 ounces of water to just kind of flush through.
Well, don't you end up in a little room a lot with books?
You'd be surprised. You might, but maybe at first. But your body gets used to, the cycle of it, of drinking the water and sweating it out and hydrating. So eventually, it's just part of your day. You just drink a lot of water. But it does encourage you to drink a lot of water because you're more thirsty and you're, sometimes we think we're hungry when really we're thirsty.
Mm-hmm. I've always heard that if you're thirsty, it really means your body's dehydrated. Is that true?
I think 90% of the people walk around dehydrated. I think they do. I just don't think people in general drink enough water, me included, but I'm trying to focus more on that. I just think it's super important to drink as much water as you can and not other things like soda or teas. Tea and coffee, some teas and coffees have caffeine, so that is a diuretic, so then, it's kind of a vicious cycle. But, it's important to drink as much water as you can. It makes your skin better. It makes your organs function better. Digestive elimination is better. So water is super important. It's a lot more important than people think, and people need to drink more water.
I think water and breath are the two keys for healing as far as I'm concerned. If you use them both in yoga, it forces you to breathe, which is a wonderful, wonderful exercise. Quite often during the day, I just work on the breathing energy.
Yeah.
And do that.
Breathing's super important because most of us shallow breathe all day long. I mean, I find myself breathing shallowly all day long and then focus on the breath. So I think has a lot to do why people are fatigued or get fatigued in the afternoon after lunch or something, or in general. General fatigue is due, I think, in part to shallow breathing and really not being aware of your breath.
Thank you. This has been really interesting. We're going to talk to you a little bit more after a break. We're going to take a break. And then we're going to come back. I want to know a little bit about Paddy.
Oh, boy.
How Paddy came about and how Paddy, a little bit of side story about Paddy.
All right.
So we will be right back. This is World-Herald Live, the only place you need to be right now with Conversations with Suzanna. You are exactly where you need to be. Come on in. This is Conversations with Suzanna. We're here every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, 12 to 1. This is the show that will take you and propel you with new ideas, new thoughts, to take you into your life maybe just a little bit easier. We're going to let you know what is ahead and what is available for you. and please join me on Facebook and Twitter at Suzanna Stickney, and I'll let you know what's coming up. We're always going to have conversations that will take you to a place of better understanding and of better peace. My goal in life is always to feel at peace and to do everything in life with ease. And so as we're talking about doing life with ease, I'm going to go back to our guest in the studio. Her name is Paddy
Tarlton.
Tarlton. Now, you're engaged, though, correct?
I am engaged.
So you're going to have another last name. Will it be easier for me to say, do you think?
It probably will. It will be McGowan.
McGowan. I can handle McGowan. All right. But Paddy, you're the owner and director of the
Bikram Yoga, Nebraska, Omaha.
That is located?
76th and Cass.
Okay. And what all about this year, and my goal, and as you can see, I wrote it on a big orange card, is to live life with ease.
I think that's awesome. I think everybody should strive to do that.
Now, if I'm living life with ease and I come to your studio, tell me about what I'm going to feel on my first time there.
Well, ease is probably going to have to wait in the lobby with your shoes. Probably the first time.
We take off our shoes.
We take off the shoes. The first class is a challenge because if you've never done yoga at all, then it's a challenge because it's 90 minutes. It's a challenge because it's in a room that's 40% humidity.
So if you've never done yoga, you can do this yoga?
Yes, this yoga is for every body.
Young, age, how old?
I have every demographic, every body type, every age coming in. I think the oldest guy I have coming is 75 years old, and he comes.
And it helps with what do they call that word? That longevity? What is
longevity?
It? No, not longevity.
Elasticity.
Yeah.
Well, we work on the elasticity of your lungs, but I mean this practice is inside out, bones to skin. You work on breathing, you work stretching, strengthening. It's for anybody that wants to feel better. It's for anybody that wants to look better. It's for anybody that's in pain and wants to heal. It's for anybody that wants to shift. The first time, it's a challenge because there's a lot to get used to. It's long. It's 90 minutes. It's a hot room. It's me talking nonstop. Mm-hmm. It's being in a room with other people. It's being not really knowing how to do everything. But your second class, you know exactly what to expect. It's the same thing every time, and you just keep coming back. So that's why I offer a $30 for 30 days first offering, because it's not one of those things that you can just do one time and go, this is great, because a lot of people do it the first time and they're like, yikes, wow, that was a lot. But
the fact of stretching, I notice as we get older, our range of motion seems to get smaller.
Of course it does.
And so this would help us with our range of motion a little bit better?
It helps a lot with the range of motion. It helps with your flexibility and your strength and your mobility. I mean, my mother cannot even raise her arms over her head like this, and the elderly especially cannot do this. So they can't see what I'm doing, but I'm raising my arms over my head.
Well, we have cameras.
But, it just helps kind of keep the fluids going and your joints going, and especially if you have things like fibromyalgia, arthritis, spine, disc, neck issues, shoulder problems.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. So what makes you, when you start a program like yoga, or when you start any program, tell me, Paddy, what makes you not quit?
I think you have to love it. I mean, if it's not fun, for me personally, if it's not fun, I'm not going to do it. Like the gym, or I never liked going to the gym. I never liked doing anything like that. if it's not fun, I don't like it. You know, if I see some benefit in it, you know, I like it. I mean, a lot of people don't want to go to yoga because they don't really like the chanty, meditative kind of yoga. They want to work out. They want to come in for 90 minutes, work really hard, and leave, and not have to worry about the other aspects of yoga, you know. This practice particularly is for people who can't do other types of yoga like me. I mean, I have arthritis, I've got neck and disc issues in my neck and spine, so I can't do a lot of the things. I can't do headstands or handstands or down dog or anything that's weight bearing on my neck, my hands, anything like that. So this series doesn't have any of that. Mm-hmm. So for people who are limited in their mobility and limited in their ability, this is a perfect option for them.
Marvelous. Out of curiosity, of all the things, what is your perfect day? What would be your perfect day? Wait, you know, I keep asking this question, and people need to understand. I believe we should live our perfect day. You know, my perfect day is starting with my husband.
Nice.
A little quiet time in the morning.
That's what I do. I have that with my fiance. We have a little quiet time in the morning. You know, I'm so lucky that, you know, I get to do what I love. It took me a very long time to get here. You know, I went to training at 55 years old, and it took me a long time to make this dream happen. So for me, you know, I get up, I have my tea, I have my meditation, I go teach yoga, you know, to people who love it, and I run this beautiful studio, and you know, I rest a lot because I'm a one-woman show. There's only one other certified Bikram teacher in the state, and she's busy. So, you know, I'm encouraging students to go to training that can, and hopefully we'll have other teachers. But right now, it's just me.
Okay. And one other thing, before we close, if you didn't need money, would you be doing what you're doing, or what would you be doing?
If I didn't need money, yeah, I would be doing what I would be doing, but I would be traveling around the world doing it. So because the fact that I'm a Bikram certified teacher means that I can go to any Bikram certified studio anywhere in the world and teach for them. So I have a lot of friends that are doing that, traveling around the world teaching this yoga, and that would be fabulous.
Marvelous, marvelous. I want to thank you for coming into the studio. I'm talking to Paddy Tarlton.
Tarlton.
I'm getting it. I'm going to get it someday. You know, I have that little fatter tongue than normal. Okay. And you are the owner of the
Bikram Yoga, Nebraska, Omaha studio.
Located
76th and Cass.
Next door to?
I am in the strip mall between
Tuesday.
Yeah, Tuesday morning, Sam and Louie's in the strip mall between Outback, Steakback, and 24-Hour Fitness, that strip mall there.
All right. Thank you for coming in. Thank you for sharing your knowledge.
Thank you for having me.
And thank you for offering that great gift to the people who might want to come. 30 days for $30.
You're welcome.
I love that.
Come on in.
Okay, so we can try it very easily.
Yes.
This is Conversations with Suzanna. You can hear us every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, 12 to 1. We're going to have people on this show that will empower you, give you some insights, maybe give you some ways to save money, to enjoy life a little bit better. Please join us here. This show is all about making life better for you, making life better for you. Are exactly where you need to be. This is Conversations with Suzanna. Just come through the door. Sit with us and listen to us as we talk about things that will entertain you, inspire you, and give you information that you might need, and maybe give you some ideas on how to handle some people that might be a problem, how to handle other things. We're going to give you the knowledge that will make your day easier, and the ideas that will propel you to being your best. Now, there are more that unites us than divides us. So please join us. Conversations with Suzanna on World-Herald Live. And I have in the studio with me Michael Sevier, who is the host of The Bottom Line.
Mm-hmm.
That started on what day again?
March 3rd, 2014. We're 2 to 6.
2 to 6.
Monday through Friday.
4 hours. This boy puts it all out on the table for you. Has great guests on there. Michael, in our first thing we were talking about, out of curiosity, if there is somebody you've interviewed that you thought was just amazing, who would that be?
Oh, my.
Yes.
I mean, I've interviewed
yes.
thousands of people.
Did anybody really inspire you, make you want to think about it? Did he say a word that made you want to think about it the rest of the day?
My favorite guest, and we used to have him on for about 3 or 4 years in a row, was Deacon Jones. He was a former defensive lineman in the NFL, member of the Fearsome Foursome for the Rams. And he was so much fun to talk to because he was just so filled with life, and he got all excited whenever he talked about quarterbacks because he hated quarterbacks. He was fun, and I think it was like 4 years in a row we talked to him, and he was really good.
And
that was
he has
one of my
a
favorite.
Beautiful voice.
Deacon Jones?
Oh,
he did.
My Lord.
Yeah, he did.
I would love his voice.
He had a good voice, yeah.
And he had Deacon Jones. Is there somebody that really, don't have to name names, was a really bad interview that you thought, boy.
Oh, lots of. Every time. There are a lot of Husker recruits that aren't very good on radio. They're not very, not conversationalists, and so they can be tough. It can be tough getting through an interview with, a 17-year-old kid who's, committing to Nebraska. That can be difficult. Matter of fact, I would say the majority of the time it's more difficult than it is easy. Occasionally you get a kid who's really well-spoken and knows what he's doing and can answer questions, but the majority of the time you don't. Okay. So those are all tough.
And if you could answer anybody nowadays, who would you, if you could interview anyone in the whole world, who would you want to interview? Not relating to sports, or sports related. If I could bring anybody.
Are they alive?
Alive
or dead? Okay.
I'm going to ask you the people on the other side.
So alive.
If you could interview anybody.
There's a lot of people out there. You know who I would love to interview is Giada. Giada De Laurentiis. She's a cook. She's a chef. She has a show, Simply Italian. She's great. I love her. I love watching her show. I'd like to talk to, I love food, and I love Italian food, and so I'd love to talk to her. She's also very attractive. But I'd like to interview her. That would be awesome. I'd like that.
Okay.
I've always wanted to interview her. I've just missed it a couple times where I was going to interview her for something when the Food Network came to town, and she had to cancel last minute, so I would like to interview her.
And because and you watch cooking shows? Are you?
Oh, yeah. I watch a lot. I've always, all the way back to Julia Child on PBS, I've always watched since I was a little kid. My father was a chef, and so, I don't know, there's something about being around a person who's a caterer and a chef, and so I kind of get that. But I watched Julia Child as a kid. I collect cookbooks. I have tons of cookbooks.
Marvelous. Marvelous.
Big fan.
So have you ever cooked anything for company and a lot of company?
Oh, I cook all the time. I've done.
Sweet and innocent people like me?
I've made food for a lot of different people.
Okay.
I cooked one of the biggest meals I ever made was for the Department of Transportation in New Mexico. They were having a big Mardi Gras kind of party but in Albuquerque. And I made them, I made a lot of food for that event. I made a bunch of when Obama had his inauguration. Some people in Omaha put together a big party. They had about 50, 60 people there. I cooked a bunch of food for that. So yeah, I cook all the time.
Really?
I cook every day.
How exciting about that. Okay. What do you like to do when you cook? What do you think is the most important? Are you a seasoned guy?
I am. I like stuff spicy. I don't measure. If you can ask me what's in it, I'll tell you what's in it, but I can't tell you how much to put in it. That's just, it's just feel. Just
There's
doing like you want to
something
do.
very wonderful about feeling your way through food.
That's the best way to do it. Like, that's why I don't bake. I don't measure. So if you ask me to bake, I'm in trouble. But, I'll cook whatever. If I can eat it, if you let me eat it, I can usually make it. If I can taste it, then I can figure out how to make it.
Marvelous. By the way, have you ever done yoga?
I have done it in the past. Like when I've done, they have a lot of those videos where you'll do the workout video, and part of it'll be yoga. But I've never done yoga just to do yoga. Now, I have a plan to do that eventually when I get some time. But I have not. I don't, not as much as I'd like to.
Okay. Could you stay here while we introduce our next guest?
Oh, sure. You want to bring her in the middle of the interview?
I want to bring her in the middle of the interview, Chad. Can you send in our lovely lady?
I will help you with the transition, sure.
Okay. And
what's her name?
What's her name?
Yes. That would help to know the person's name when she comes in, so you can introduce her.
Would you like to, young lady?
Let her get in her seat, and we'll
get in your seat.
You don't have to wear those.
I want you to be with Michael.
Just for a second.
And
so
Patty,
go back to work.
If you want to tell everyone your name
and where you're from.
All righty, my name's Paddy Tarlton.
And Paddy Tarlton, tell me what kind of yoga we're going to talk about today.
We're going to talk about Bikram yoga.
Have you ever heard of Bikram yoga?
Is that the heat one?
Yes.
Yes. No, I used to work right above the studio down there on Dodge. I worked upstairs from it.
Okay.
The studio that they have on Dodge Street. I'm not sure the name of the place, but that's where I was.
Okay.
So I've heard of it, yeah.
All right, thank you. Tell us about Bikram yoga.
Bikram yoga, okay.
Bikram.
So Bikram yoga is a set series of 26 postures and 2 breathing exercises done in a room that's 105 with 40% humidity.
Wow.
So my studio, Bikram Yoga, Nebraska, Omaha, is on 76th and Cass.
Okay.
And it is the only official Bikram yoga studio in the state of Nebraska. So other studios teach the yoga, but it's the only certified yoga studio. I was trained by Bikram. I went to his training, which is extensive. It's 9 weeks. And I'm an official franchise of the Bikram Yoga College of India.
Wow. So what, I met you through Omaha Fashion Week when you designed yoga pants, which is really cool. So we're going to take a break, and then we're going to come back and we're going to talk to you about Bikram yoga. I want you to sell me on Bikram yoga. I want you to get me to want to do it.
Okay.
And then I want to find out why you started the yoga.
Okay.
That kind of yoga. And